What was this even about? What was that? You know what? War Pugs. So tonight, I'm going to be checking out something not about the Fantastic Four, the recent one, the one that happened 20 years ago. The one that really annoyed the crap out of me, because it was really painful to watch. War Pugs, I don't know what to tell you about 2005, right before Marvel started to really put together some movies that were actually worth a crap. But this one in particular was kind of annoying to me. It was a dud. I don't remember if it flopped it off the box office, but it did set superhero movies back about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years until they started making good ones again. And, you know, it's kind of poetic. Okay, I'm sitting here looking at a picture of Halle Berry as Storm, and all I can, like, the only time whenever I see Halle Berry as Storm, and I see her with the long hair, the only thing I can think of is the dumb quote that's about to come out of her mouth. The worst quote ever. Do you know what happens to a toad when they get struck by lightning? I'm just like, you couldn't, like, seriously, who sat down and thought of that line and thought this sounds something? Anyway, War Pugs. She should have been more of a badass. I'm just saying. Anyhow, the Funtastic failure. It's the Fantastic Four. And it was absolutely garbage. Let's get into this, War Pugs. I hope you guys enjoy. It's Pointless Hub. All links are going to be in the description down below. Enough of my yammering. Let's go.
What was the first superhero movie you ever saw? Was it Blade? X-Men? Daredevil? Maybe it was The Avengers? Or Man of Steel? I remember what my first superhero movie was. I saw it before Spider-Man, or Batman, or even Ghost Rider. You see, my first superhero movie was 2005's Fantastic Four.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry, my guy.
It's clobbering time!
Ugh.
What a way to start. I didn't know anything about comics. Only comics I read were Garfield or Calvin and Hobbes. Only superhero anything I ever read was that issue where Superman
This one. Nobody read comics for a long time, but then all of a sudden, everybody, like, Batman got his back broken, Superman died, and everybody was just like, what in the world is going on? Everybody was reading comics.
literally died. My parents owned a copy for some reason. I never saw anything Fantastic Four related. I never watched the 90s cartoon or
Neither
played
did I.
the PS1 game.
I definitely
My dumb
didn't.
kid brain just took all of this in. I didn't know it wasn't like the source material. To me, this was the source material. It had everything. Action, comedy, implied nudity, and product placement.
Yep.
It stood for everything that made pre-recession 2000s America a magical place.
A higher calling like getting girls and making money?
Is there any higher?
Then, you know, as I got older, I saw other movies, and that opinion kind of changed.
Yeah.
Soon I started talking to other people about these movies, and my opinion changed even more. I went online and saw all these bad reviews. Oh my god, people hate this. And you know what? I think I hate this too. From then on, that's how it was for me. The Fox-era Fantastic Four movies were terrible. Everyone knew they were terrible.
Yes.
It was just common knowledge. No, of course Dr. Doom wouldn't be a CEO. He's a wizard king in a spooky castle, you idiot. Since Marvel was trying attempt number 3, I thought, hey, what better time to revisit these movies? Are they really as bad as people once said?
There's only one, count them, one time that anything actually looked somewhat decent in this movie. And I'm going to leave it to you to figure out, War Pugs. I'm going to leave it to you to figure out.
Or, because the cycle of nostalgia is an ever-turning wheel, perhaps this movie is as good as people on Twitter now claim with an out-of-context clip. So which is it? Is 2005 Fantastic Four an abomination, or was it just misunderstood for its time? It's charming, okay?
Okay.
Try to cheer me up, you're doing a hell of a job.
I'm not gonna drag this out. It's not spectacular or anything. It's not gonna win any awards.
No.
But I just can't hate this version of Fantastic Four, man. You can't make me. I'm still gonna make fun of it, of course. Like I'm human.
Right. Okay.
So, the Fantastic Four have been hard to adapt. Not a stunning revelation, I know. But why? What was it about these four that just didn't translate well?
Simply put, compared to every other Marvel superhero, they're extremely underpowered. And I mean extremely underpowered by comparison.
There's a few things for a few reasons. Like so many
Except for
videos
Susan.
have pointed out before, they're adventurers. They go on wacky sci-fi adventures and fight mole people.
Yeah.
They aren't great characters because they have powers. They're great characters that happen to have powers. And that is just really, really hard to get right. It's a subtle thing. And for decades, like decades, Hollywood couldn't even get the easy superheroes right. Except for Superman.
Of course.
That one time. Before the 90s, Marvel didn't even have that. They had Howard the Duck.
Don't talk shit about Howard the Duck, okay? Do not talk any shit about Howard the Duck. I won't hear it.
Back then, Marvel was selling the rights to their characters for dirt cheap. Or well, they were trying, because nobody was buying. Finally, Marvel was able to pawn off the Fantastic Four to Bernd Eichner, the future producer and writer of Downfall, who would sit on the rights for a few years until pumping out the cheapest adaptation possible at the last possible second. Despite being made with the budget of an old Smosh video and never being released to the public, for 3 decades now, this is the most accurate Fantastic Four movie ever to exist. It might not look the best visually, but hey, its heart's in the right place.
Okay.
Now, after some morally dubious shenanigans, the rights eventually landed with 20th Century Fox, who wanted to make their own movie ASAP. This was in 1994. A movie didn't release until 2005. This was the same project. 2005 Fantastic Four isn't some spur-of-the-moment idea because Spider-Man succeeded. It is actually the end product of a decade of behind-the-scenes dilly-dallying.
Oh my...
Fox originally planned on...
You gotta be kidding me. This thing looked... Oh, God. This thing did not look like it was worth half a crap. I just... Like, you can own...
having Chris Columbus write and direct. So perhaps we would have gotten something more in line with Home Alone, the first 2 Harry Potter movies, or, Pixels. But he dropped out. A new director came in, then they dropped out.
Okay.
New writers came in. But Fox just wasn't happy with their direction. And around they all went on this circus carousel for 10 entire years.
Sweet.
Some drafts were 3-hour-long epics, others were 1960 throwbacks, and just Fox wasn't interested in any of that. They wanted a more contemporary vision.
Okay.
A more radical, modern Fantastic Four. Keep in mind, this was the late 90s.
Yes.
This is when the biscuits were limp.
Oh my God. Yeah. If they would have done a 60s throwback on top of everything that was going on in the late 90s, it would have never gone anywhere.
When the Goofy movies were extremely goofy. The Fantastic Four were old-fashioned, in the past. We were about to have a new millennium, baby. These four needed to change with the times. And after a couple more years, they finally figured that out. And so we got a Fantastic Four where the paparazzi were f***ing everywhere, and Johnny Storm was really into motocross. Holy shit, I just love motocross.
Tone.
You know what I think of when it comes to 2005 Fantastic Four? It isn't the plot or the characters. Hell, it isn't even the clobbering. No, what I first imagine is an Xbox. Like the original Xbox.
Really?
This is, for me, the most mid-2000s movie that ever existed.
Dos Equis.
When I imagine 2005, I will not lie, Johnny Storm crashing into that Burger King ad shows up more often than not. My 2005
Flame broiled, get it?
memories go like my house in the middle of a field, Pokemon Emerald, King Kong being everywhere, and then Johnny Storm saying flame on. Congratulations, Burger King, you won marketing.
Fantastic Four Amazon cash cards.
I can't even recall my childhood memories anymore. I only remember the Whopper.
The sadness is the truth of this statement. For me, my childhood, Godzilla Jurassic Park. Well, actually, my childhood, my 8 years old, Jurassic Park. Let's go.
Fantastic Four is probably the most bright of the 2000 superhero movies. It's mainly comedic, whimsical even, kind of like a big cartoon, but not like that one. Like, when the fire truck is about to hit Ben, the fire dog covers his eyes.
I know, right?
That's incredible.
Yes.
I dare modern Hollywood to be so bold. There's just this innocence to the whole movie that can also be interpreted as brain dead. Is it brain dead? Yeah, but so was the rest of 2005.
Stryker, dude, you seriously gotta pick me for the Video Game Awards special Ultimate Gamer, man. I'm not gonna let you down. I'm gonna kick everybody's ass at the games. You know it, Stryker. Just pick me. Come on.
We really
What was this even about? What was that? You know what? I don't even want to get into it because I saw people that were doing dumb stuff on a regular, just completely regular basis. It really explains why people are clout chasers today.
They have two vibes competing throughout the entire movie, where the energy of the time seeps through a pretty standard family-friendly comic book atmosphere.
Don't do drugs.
TV and paparazzi are a dominant force. They're almost a villain in themselves that not even the great Reed Richards can understand. The press basically drives Victor Von Doom insane. They are so crazy that in the next movie, Sue wants to just give up the whole superhero thing to escape these people. Being celebrities is a core trait to the Fantastic Four, so I kind of love how these characters and the time period sort of just fit together when it comes to that. When I really think about Fantastic Four, though, I don't just think of the tone. I think of what sets the tone.
Okay.
And nothing sets the tone better than music.
No.
I love the Fantastic Four theme, okay?
Why? Why? It's one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Truly a shame that this theme was relegated to the dustbin of history. It's a theme so good, I cannot ever imagine another theme being associated with the Fantastic Four. And then, you know, the new one came out and,
Plot! Let's go.
This is an origin movie. So you're gonna spend an hour and a half watching the Fantastic Four become the Fantastic Four.
Yeah!
An hour and a half is dedicated to what the intro of the cartoon covered in a minute. Four people go into space, get hit with cosmic rays, get superpowers.
Yay!
There you go. Ben's super strong now. He holds back a fire truck. Wow, I'm sure that makes up for wishing for the sweet embrace of death. She can turn invisible, but only when she takes her clothes off.
Yeah.
She can make force fields that give her a nosebleed like an anime character. Every time she uses her powers, she takes damage like Pichu in Smash Bros. Johnny bursts into flames when doing extreme sports or being horny.
That's gotta suck, to be honest with you, but apparently not, or something?
It makes the audience uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This unlikely team has got to learn to work together and save the world.
Yay!
Maybe they might just learn that the greatest superpower is family.
Aww.
Coming soon to fucking Peacock. If you watched literally any video essay about these guys, this isn't gonna be a shock at all.
No.
But the origins of the Fantastic Four don't matter. There is no Uncle Ben getting shot here, or parents getting shot, or getting jacked off at super speed. Even the first
I did it, Barry. It was me.
issue of their comics skim over their backstory because we need to get to the real meat of the adventure, which is fighting the Mole Man.
Yes.
Fantastic Four is about the fun, wacky sci-fi adventures this team goes on. So, of course, the movie has all of them split apart for most of the runtime. Splitting up a core cast of characters. Who does this film think it is? Scooby-Doo 2002? I don't think.
Just get me out. Just get me out.
So, I don't see Scrappy pissing
Please,
on Daphne
no.
anywhere. They made Dr. Doom a CEO.
Of course
Man,
they
that's
did.
hilarious. A common issue in comic book movies is adapting the, I don't know, unhinged elements of these things. Like, audiences were still new to everything in the 2000s. Goblin had to look like a Power Ranger instead of a wacky green ghoul.
Yay!
These movies were made to be palatable for someone born in 1972. So, like,
Someone older than me. Nice.
I get it. I get why they were apprehensive about having the villain of these New York celebrities be some metal wizard in his spooky East Europe castle.
Yes.
How much runtime is needed to explain he's both a genius in tech and in magic? Yes, magic is real, and also this guy makes robot duplicates of himself.
Very
Probably would
nice.
have killed Grandma. Dr.
Yes.
Doom is the definitive comic book character. He's a bit much. A bit theatrical.
Yes.
Surrender. Doom does not surrender.
But there's a reason he's so beloved. He's got a tragically dark backstory, which adds layers to his motivations. He's capable, intelligent, and the perfect villain to the fore. Yet it also takes so much time to set that up properly. What the fuck is Latveria?
I'm not quite sure, and I don't think I want to know, considering how close it is to another place I don't want to know anything about.
Why does this guy hate Reed? Why does he wear a mask?
Who knows?
And they just didn't have the runtime for that. They needed to waste time showing how they got blasted by the sun. I
Yay!
can just imagine that in the writers' minds, corners had to be cut. This was a Fantastic Four movie after all, not a Doom movie. So what were they to do? Shit, just make him Norman Osborn.
Why not?
Oh, okay.
Oh, there
Dr.
we go.
Doom in this is the Green Goblin. Just without Willem Dafoe, the man.
Which is really sad, because Defoe am I the only one who sits here every single day and wonders why we don't have William Dafoe as the Joker? Am I the only guy who thinks that?
And a Goblin energy.
Back to formula.
Or, well, anything good about that character at all. Doom
That's
is
funny.
now an evil genius businessman that can shoot lightning. That's not Dr. Doom. This is an entirely made-up character exclusively for this movie. He just happens to wear the Doom mask at the end.
You are nothing to Doom, and your pathetic attempts to play mind games with me amount to exactly less than nothing. So please, stop embarrassing yourself.
This is gonna be fun.
Ugh.
He's not even that smart. The movie
No.
implies he's smart because he built his company Steve Jobs style, but we never see that. All he does is sit around in his office looking mad. Even when there's opportunities to show that he's smart, they just don't. How do you think the great Victor Von Doom
He just seriously... He doesn't just look mad. He looks like he looks like he's mad and he's waiting for his anti-constipation medication to kick in. That's really what we're looking at here.
found out he was affected by cosmic rays? Did he do any wacky experiments on himself? Did he self-diagnose the problem by connecting the dots?
No.
He just goes to a normal doctor, like a family physician. Dr. Doom went to the doctor. And then he kills him. Because
Why?
he's angry. It's hilarious because other than turning metal, this guy really has no motivation to become super bad. Like, he was a jerk before, but not evil.
Right.
The movie actually forces this man to become evil.
The fastest free fall since the Depression. We can't even give your stock away.
You know I can turn this around?
Oh, you got...
He didn't even have, okay, so in every movie, there are ways that, understandable ways, relatable ways you can make a character evil. He didn't even have those. He didn't even have the base elements of dickishness.
Going to have to, Victor, or we pull out.
Alright, so for some reason, this cosmic ray incident on the station is the biggest PR nightmare you could ever imagine. It is
Unknown one.
taking the stock of his company. He is dealing with scandal and debt, all because of this thing. And the only people affected by this were Doom and 4 other people he personally knew.
Yeah.
People who volunteered, who didn't even die. So how is any of this a big deal at all?
Nobody
Real companies
cares.
have people die, and it barely hurts their stock price. Yet in this world, Doom Corp is going full Lehman Brothers, and the board is blaming Victor himself.
The board's in agreement. The bank's lost enough already.
I'm all for Amazon and Jeff Bezos being held accountable as much as the next guy, but it gets to a point where, in-universe, the pressure doesn't even make any sense.
This reminds me so much of why I could not stand the Jurassic World series. It's because, like, and this is a precursor to that, where you had obvious bad guy is obvious, like, for dumb reasons. Just stupid reasons that didn't even make sense. They took him and the hunter guy in Jurassic World, or whatever the world was called at that point, the one that was pulling teeth out of the dinosaurs and stuff. They just made Victor Von Doom, turned him into him, and then took away all of his motivation, charm, and everything else.
The only people affected by this became famous superheroes. People love them now. The only people who care about the consequences of this disaster are financial magazines. There is no way it would affect the company this much.
Right.
In the real world, Doom would have just walked away from this absolutely fine. You know, except for the whole turning into metal thing. But
he would have walked away from it gleaming, too, once they turned into superheroes.
the hand of the damn writers just had to make him turn evil because we need another goblin.
Do you know how much money I've invested in this company?
I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
Board members really do get the most violent deaths in these movies.
Yeah, they do. Nice.
Victor Von Doom has nothing left to lose. He just starts killing people left and right because he's metal now.
Yeah,
that was a pun. Fuck you. Speaking of metal, Doom's mask. It's an iconic part of his character, since they weren't bold enough to just have a masked guy barge in unannounced and start spitting insults to Stretchy McGee. I guess showing his origin was the next best option.
Okay.
We are now forced to answer the question, why does Doom wear a mask? My personal headcanon is just that Robot Chicken sketch.
Ha!
Sorry about your dick, dude.
I find the answer to this so funny. Where does his mask come from? Oh, it was an ornament in his office. Some decoration. A gift by the people of Latveria for...
I forgot about that. I honestly did forget about that. I didn't even consider that.
humanitarian contributions. First off, that thing is possessed by demons. Second, I think this makes this the equivalent of welding a Nobel Peace Prize to your face.
Right.
I'm very conflicted here, because I like Julian McMahon as Dr. Doom. Rest in peace, by the way. I think that once he puts on the mask, he becomes a lovable little scamp.
After all, we're both doctors.
He said it! He said it!
His personality flips. He drops the whole cold and calculating angle and goes right for the quips.
Let's check in on the rest of the family, shall we?
That's what I'm talking about.
You see, that's a threat. That's how you say a threat, actually. It honestly felt like once he put on the Doom costume, he became a completely different character. And that's not a joke. Some of his best lines, some of his best things that he said in this movie came after he put on the mask. No one knew who I was until I put on the mask.
Everyone today complains that
God.
modern Marvel movies just don't take themselves seriously, because there's always some bad joke or quip. And you know, I agree. I think we need to go back to a simpler time, when these things were straight up cartoons. As an example, the Thing hits Doom right into a bus.
Yep.
Then he
Wilhelm
casually
scream.
walks out the front door.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
It is.
Doom is just spooky Electro. He doesn't use any wacky gadgets, no Doom bots, no Doom hickeys. All he's got is some lightning powers and a fucking rocket launcher.
Rocket launcher.
How could I forget Doom's best asset, his Javelin missile? Hot take here, the mid-2000s comic movie didn't know how to adapt Dr. Doom.
Back off.
Susan, let's not fight.
No, let's.
One of the biggest problems people have with this movie is Dr. Doom.
Okay.
And I get it. You don't want a character done wrong. Yet in retrospect, like, come on. You are expecting too much of this movie.
Could have been worse.
Okay.
This is not an excuse. I am not saying this is a good decision or saying you need to like this. What I am saying is that we were just never going to get a proper Doctor Doom in this movie. It was beyond this film's capability, like telling a toddler to land a plane. Doom has so many things going on that even to this day, Hollywood still has difficulty adapting him. Does this mean that Doctor Doom is unadaptable? No, of course not. If you took the time, you could make this character work. The problem here, though, is that once again, time is not on Marvel's side.
No, time is exactly on Marvel's side. Time is completely on Marvel's side. Like, time is more on Marvel's side than any other company that does movies at this point. Because we all know what they can do because we've seen how great that... We've seen what they can do. We've seen what they're capable of when they actually give a crap about making a good movie.
So they're slapping Robert Downey Jr.'s face right onto Doom because Marvel doesn't know how else to sell this character to the general audience. Now, perhaps Downey isn't playing Doom, and this whole thing is just one big fake out to explain why he's back on set.
Right.
Or I'm just coping. My point here is that even after 20 years of building up the MCU, Marvel still doesn't have the balls to have a proper Doctor Doom. You know, this movie has a lot of problems, but I'm not gonna hark on it too much for not doing a proper Doctor Doom. Give him electrical powers, sure, whatever. Have a Latveria Easter egg for the two nerds that knew what the hell that was in 2005.
I don't.
Ship him off at the end, Madagascar style.
Nice. The game.
Spoilers, Rise of the Silver Surfer is a better movie.
I didn't watch it.
Anytime I see people go, this is the best Fantastic Four we got, one, it's a low bar, and two, it's usually because they're thinking of the sequel, the one where things actually happen. The Fantastic Four is a team of adventurers. It's nice when they do the adventures.
Hey.
It is not nice when they spend most of the runtime locked inside a New York apartment trying to cure themselves of being interesting. We don't know how this is gonna end. They're gonna accept their powers. I would be shocked if the Fantastic Four movie ended with them unfantasticking themselves. Maybe I'm being too harsh, though. The powers aren't really the main point here.
Right.
The main point of these four being crammed together is so they can learn to get along, and soon, become a family.
Yay!
Too bad it's poorly executed. Strangers learning to become friends isn't exactly a groundbreaking concept, but typically when it's done in other movies, usually the characters actually interact with one another. In that first movie, these four really don't. Not that much. Like, even in Quarantine, they had to actually reshoot scenes because while editing, Fox realized, oh shit, these people don't talk to each other at all.
That's an understatement in a lot of ways. The relationship between them was kind of strained too, because it kind of really just beggared belief at some points, these types of relationships they had. Susan and Johnny Flame.
And when they do speak, they're usually fighting.
Yes.
That's why Ben and Johnny here are the absolute standouts. Bickering is what Ben and Johnny do. It doesn't work as well when Sue and Reed are being passive-aggressive and awkward.
Yeah.
Stretching powers are so hard to pull off in live action. It is an ability that thrives in cartoons and comics, but imagine a real man doing this. If you saw someone right in front of you doing half the shit Luffy did, could your brain even process that as real? It's something that no matter how much budget goes into the effect, it's always gonna look a little wonky.
Yeah!
Because that is not how the body is supposed to move. Considering how old this movie is, I will say, the stretching powers could have looked a whole lot worse. Director Tim
He's
Story
not
at least
wrong.
knew
He is really not wrong on
the
that.
limitations of the effect and how to frame around it. Helps with the uncanniness. Yet here's the thing. Being stretchy is just a small part of Reed Richards. Reed isn't a good character because he can stretch any part of his body.
Well, I've always found him to be a little limp.
Tons of characters stretch. Plastic Man, Miss Marvel, Luffy, Jake the dog. But there is only one Mr. Fantastic. And that's because what makes Reed Mr. Fantastic is his brain. He's the
True.
smartest guy in the world, generally speaking. He's smarter than
Not in that scene.
Tony Stark. He can invent anything, do anything, travel across universes, create a council of himself that most people only know from fucking Rick and Morty. Reed Richards is one of the most fascinating characters in all of comics. And while this movie is for the most part perfectly acceptable and pretty average, its absolute greatest sin is that it completely botches him. At least Dr. Doom got to be a goofball, so that was kind of funny. Here, Reed Richards, our main character, is just so lame.
Yeah.
Reed is smart. Therefore, Reed is a nerd. That's his core trait.
Early 2000s, guys.
Socially inept, awkward. He's
Very.
like Jimmy Neutron saying sodium chloride instead of salt. People know what fucking sodium chloride is, Jimmy. Say salt like a human being with a soul, you godless piece of shit. Throughout this entire movie, Reed just says things, all to remind people that he is the smartest guy in the room.
Step up this protocol every 4 hours, yes. We know what we're doing.
It's that cliche where his genius is just on such another level, he can't even properly communicate with normal people.
Right. There were a lot of variables to consider.
No, there weren't. There was you and me. There were no variables, no math. It was actually the simplest thing in the world.
And hey, honestly, that wouldn't even be a problem if he wasn't such a dumbass. The smart character is only as intelligent as its writer, after all, and this is a dumb as f*** movie. So really, this whole time, we, the audience, are just watching Reed Richards, the genius, constantly failing.
7 seconds.
That's impossible. It should be 7 hours.
He miscalculates when the cosmic storm will hit the station. He thinks the shields will protect everyone.
Right.
They don't. When trying to fix Ben, he tests the machine on himself, turning himself into, that.
This effect, honestly, is nowhere near as bad as it could have been considering the time frame. I'm just saying.
He doesn't even make the fancy costumes that react to their powers. He just reuses the ones they wore in space.
Yeah.
The only smart thing Reed does in the whole movie is conclude that molten steel will harden if it gets wet. What an absolute genius. First prize in the 3rd grade science fair for that one. Everything Reed does is just inherently funny. Like, unintentionally. It's even funny how they go to space. So, Reed Richards has to pitch his idea to Victor Von Doom.
The great Reed Richards asked me for help.
And while Reed is doing so, it's all awkward because he runs into his ex, Sue Storm, who is working for Doom. And she's still in love with Reed, but he doesn't realize it because he's just an absolute nerd.
Bazinga.
Bing bong theory. So yeah, Sue Storm.
What about your leader?
In one of the early comics, there's this one issue where the team opens real-life fan mail, and one of the letters just says something along the lines of, "What's the point of Sue? What does Sue contribute to the team?" And the funniest thing is, they, the writers, didn't know. There was once a time when Sue's only power was being the invisible girl. That was it. Like the ever-elusive pet in a hot car, her greatest power was not being seen.
Which you can actually do a lot with if you just, do something with it. They had to make her have force fields.
Over the years, Marvel solved this problem with Sue by just buffing the shit out of her.
Right.
Invisibility by itself is nothing. But if you include that with force fields, now we're talking. With force fields, Sue went from doing literally nothing to being able to block any attack. Hell, the sky's the limit if you're creative enough.
Yeah.
She can do anything with these things. Use them as a platform to fly, keep a building from collapsing, create a small bubble inside of Dr. Doom to make his head explode. If you ever played Marvel Rivals, then you kind of get an idea of what Sue can do. And just like in Marvel Rivals, this movie too took Sue Storm and nerfed her. Her force fields really don't do a lot.
Jessica Alba, all I've got to say.
They can't even knock Dr. Doom off his feet. Anytime she tries to do anything remotely powerful, her nose bleeds.
Yeah.
While Sue being underpowered is understandable for the gang's first outing. Sue Storm is now just the sitcom mom, the responsible one. She'll complain that Johnny's irresponsible or Reed's annoying, and that's all she's mainly given to do. I mean, she's not wrong, Johnny is irresponsible and Reed is annoying, but she's given the cursed role of the female fun killer. Sue just exists to judge. She does like Ben though, but that's not saying much, everyone likes Ben. She also likes Victor Von Doom. Wait, what? Yeah, so at the start of the movie, Sue is with Victor.
Okay.
To what capacity? I don't really know.
Stay for one drink, because I have to meet Victor.
Wouldn't want to keep Vic waiting.
It is heavily implied that Victor and Sue are dating, like he proposes to her in the space station, but he never gets his answer because the cosmic Baja Blast happens.
Hooray!
Rest of the movie goes by, Victor becomes Metal Electro, and you, the audience, just kind of assume that he and Sue mutually broke up because of everything. You'd assume that, right?
Yeah.
Yet at the end, she tells Reed that her and Victor were just never a thing.
Victor? You know, there is no me and Victor. Never was.
What the fuck? Why did
I'm just gonna hold my hand over here. Go.
he propose? Why did he expect her to come to dinner? It seems like he thought they were dating. Her brother thought they were dating. Fuck, Reed thought they were dating. She even acts uncomfortable when Victor finds her looking at Reed's old scrapbook like her current BF would see her pining for an ex. But like, no? They don't have a relationship, I guess? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she wasn't even thinking about Reed here. Maybe she was just happy at the increase in hate crimes.
There we go.
Hi, future Cody here. So while I was editing, I was listening to the audio commentary, right? And on the official Blu-ray version, when it got to this part, they mentioned how there was originally a planetarium scene that they cut out. Apparently it repeated information and they wanted to save time.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. Well, here's the funny thing. There are two versions of this movie online. There is the Blu-ray Disney Plus version that has Sue saying she was never with Doom, and then there's the Amazon version, which has the deleted planetarium scene. The planetarium scene is just far better, in every way. One, you can actually see Sue and Reed becoming a couple again. It's really cute. It actually helps with Reed's arc where he learns to become assertive. In the official movie, Sue just tells him to be a man, and he just becomes a man.
Yeah, there
but
you
in
go.
the planetarium scene, she does it in a tongue-in-cheek way, so it's like Reed's doing it for himself, not just because she told him to.
Okay.
Why didn't you say something?
Reed. I'm saying it now.
Most importantly, though, it cuts out Sue saying she was never a thing with Doom. Though the new scene does have Mr. Fantastic doing the Chad face, so I guess it balances out.
Yeah, there we go. No, it doesn't.
Future
It doesn't.
Cody here.
It doesn't.
You know, rewatching the clip where she says there is no her and Victor, never was. I guess you could just interpret that as her saying she never really liked Victor, and he was kind of like a rebound until Reed came back.
You know, there is no me and Victor. Never was.
Really, that whole rant was kind of unnecessary.
I don't think so.
My lack of social comprehension has once again wasted so much time.
No. I honestly don't think so. Like, this... I don't even know what to say about that. It's been so long since I sat down and actually watched this movie. I remember key parts of it. This is like... But, no. No, bro. No. There was a you and Victor. I don't care what you say, there was a you and Victor.
Comics, Johnny Storm is Sue's immature younger brother. He's a little reckless, but he always tries to do the right thing, even
and he is literally a frat boy supercharged in this movie.
if his emotions get the best of him. In the movie, Johnny's an asshole, and I love it.
Well, I've always found him to be a little limp.
When you think of these movies, Chris Evans' Human Torch is probably what pops into your mind. Johnny is a dick. He knows he's hot, and that was before he even got powers.
Yep.
Oh, you're hot.
Why, thank you, so are you.
Johnny bangs chicks, and he makes Ben's life a living hell. Johnny's into snowboarding and motocross, all the extreme sports that 2008 destroyed. He found out he had powers while
wow, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even consider that might have been
snowboarding down a mountain after jumping off a helicopter.
Yeah.
Then after he crashes, he bangs.
Care to join me?
Brings a tear to my eye.
Yes, I just turned into a flaming shooting star across the sky, and the first thing I want to do is put the penis in something. This is the...
Don't make them like they used to.
No.
Early scripts had Johnny be this complex character that would start off self-centered and vapid before making the ultimate sacrifice to save the world. They were gonna have a fake-out death and everything. The whole cliche caboodle.
Of course.
He would have been the emotional core to the movie's climax. Then they didn't do that. If they did that, it probably would have given the movie more reason to focus on the Fantastic Four's origin, but who cares? I love Brain Dead Johnny. He contributes nothing, and that's all he really needs to do.
Where are your ears?
He doesn't bother asking the important questions, like why am I on fire? All he does is accept it. He gets powers, and the first thing he does is sell out. Get in front of the paparazzi. Hit that Burger King ad. It's kind of funny how there are two distinct eras of 21st century pop culture.
Everyone's got a gimmick now.
And each are signified with Chris Evans. Sure, kids today
Wait a
only
minute,
know...
no. Am I this stupid and I didn't know? I'm just sitting play. You're shitting me. I didn't even put the two together.
About Captain America Chris Evans, who has the heart of gold of Steve Rogers and always does what's right, which often means fighting the deep state. And that Chris Evans is the face of an era that dominated the 2010s, and was also kind of responsible for Disney Plus and the state of entertainment as it is, so kind of the 2020s
No,
too.
I don't hold him responsible. I do not hold him responsible for this shit.
There's another Chris Evans. The fuckboy Chris Evans. The Chris Evans of Cellular. The Chris Evans of Not Another
Oh
Teen
my
Movie.
god, really?
The douchebag. The jackass. That was my favorite Chris Evans. And that Chris Evans is mainly remembered now for being Johnny Storm. He's the perfect summary of what this era of Fantastic Four even was. Flashy, over the top, and kinda brain dead. And for the last 20 years, he is 100% what people think of when they imagine Johnny Storm. No, I'm not bringing up the Deadpool thing.
What?
Ever notice that Ben only has 4 fingers? He didn't just become a rock man, he became a literal cartoon character in his own world.
Yay.
Despite being a literal cartoon character, Ben is the realest of them all.
No, Vic. It's clobbering time.
You can rate the Fantastic Four adaptations solely on how well they handle the Thing. Sometimes he's depressed because he looks like a ground-type Joe Rogan. Other times he's optimistic, trying to make the best out of, looking like that.
Yeah.
In the 60s cartoon, he just won't shut the fuck up. He's a character that's sometimes hard to strike a balance with. Yet, despite this movie's many flaws, man, do they do Ben Grimm right. If there's a sole reason I'm glad these movies exist, it's because it's so many people's first introduction to the Thing, and it nailed him.
Victor ain't that bad, huh? He's just a little larger than life, right?
Michael Chiklis is great here. John Shield himself. When I read the comics, I read it in his grisly, deepened Chainsmoker voice.
There you go.
Johnny, stop it.
That's it, Tinkerbell!
They nail what makes Ben work. His life can be so unrealistically miserable, yet he just keeps chugging along. His fiancée takes one look at him, screams, and runs away. And then, after he saves the day and the city accepts him, she still just looks at him and gets the ick. She drops their engagement ring on the road, and he can't even pick it up. That's so fucked. He can't eat food right because he'll eat the fork, and also he has 4 fingers, and then the only creature that doesn't judge him literally takes a shit on him.
There you
Johnny
go.
is being Johnny, so for the worst week of this man's life, Johnny is just reveling in his pain.
Yeah, you think this is bad? You should have seen him before.
Okay, now I'm gonna go kill him.
Look at his poor face after Johnny steals his orange juice. What an awful existence.
I know, right?
Still, Ben takes it in stride. He's just like...
He's the only character that I really actually like, and he gets the girl at the end, which is nice.
Oh, man. Ah, jeez. What a shame.
Yeah,
they kind of just
sucks.
speedrun his whole relationship with Alicia. She's blind. He's made of rocks. They're perfect for each other. So Doom tricks Ben into becoming normal again using this machine, right?
Yeah.
But Ben realizes he got duped and turns himself back into the Thing. I like that. That's great. Small nitpick. Well, really big nitpick, actually.
Okay.
Reed has a machine now that can make everyone lose their powers. So Ben can transform between Ben and the Thing anytime he wants now.
Right.
It's something that Reed even points out.
And I think if I can rework the power
Forget
settings...
about it, Egghead. I'm good as is.
Hey, good on him for accepting his condition. But also, he doesn't have to have a condition anymore.
Right.
Being the Thing
He literally can change into the Thing like changing into a shirt.
could just be his job. Say they gotta go battle some bad guy.
Mole people.
Just jump into the machine. Then after work, jump back in. Go back to normal. But instead, he just doesn't do that. He's just like, nah, I'm good. I don't know how I feel about that. So much of the Thing's character is the fact that he wants to become normal again. He's just trying to make the best of a bad situation. But here, in this movie, he actively enjoys being a rock monster. Because, apparently, Alicia prefers that he's that.
Good as is.
Better than good, baby.
Oh.
I mean, you like what you like, I guess.
I will be honest, I don't understand why this movie has such terrible reviews. It's not perfect or anything, I've established that, and I guess if you want to be a little nerd, Dr. Doom was done terribly, but 28% on Rotten Tomatoes? 28%?
These are the same people that sit there and give some of the movies I really enjoy much lower ratings and give movies I think suck or 98%, so I don't trust the tomato meter for nothing anymore.
Thor 4 got a 63. Thor 4 with the screaming goats. So, either half of Thor's budget went directly to paying off critics, or our standards have truly fallen to new lows.
Right.
Have my standards fallen that low? I, the guy who defends Transformers 3 and unironically loves 2012? Are my standards that bad? Something to think about. I don't think that's all.
It is something to consider, my guy. It is relatively something to consider.
What's going on here? Oh no. This movie's biggest issue wasn't just Dr. Doom or a bland Mr. Fantastic. I think its main issue was timing. So, a year before this movie released, Spider-Man 2 came out.
Yes!
A few months later, Pixar dropped The Incredibles, a modern classic. A direct homage to the Fantastic Four. What I think gets often overlooked is that just a month before Fantastic Four premiered, there was Batman Begins. Batman Begins is a little more schlocky compared to The Dark Knight, but for the time, this was like a meteor to comic book movies.
Yeah.
It felt like an art house film compared to, say, X-Men 2. In 2005, for some reason, there were just dark, gritty, realistic takes on superheroes.
Constantine. I loved this movie. I loved the soundtrack from this movie. I loved Keanu in this movie. I loved everything about this movie.
Batman Begins was what people craved. Then Fantastic Four came out a month later. It was colorful, silly, and lighthearted. Something that would fit right into comic book movies today. But that was not what audiences wanted at the time. This wasn't charming. This was dorky. This was Blinks the Cat in a world ready for Gears of War. Timing matters so much in movies. A few years earlier, this tone would have been par for the course. A few years later, this would have been seen as a breath of fresh air. But Fantastic Four didn't have that luck. It wasn't good enough to be a Spider-Man 2. It had to compete against Batman. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a 28% either. I think it simply started off on the wrong foot. And the problem was, because of that, it became a laughingstock. It was.
To be honest with you, if this came out in 98, if this came out like 98, 1997 when Godzilla came out, we would have just looked at that as the year where, you know, a lot of embarrassments came out, but the best embarrassment out of them all was probably going to be this movie. To be honest with you, because Godzilla, Matthew Broderick, I don't know who told Matthew Broderick he can act, but I do know what they should have gotten. It should have been 3 to 5.
It was just universally agreed that the Fantastic Four movie was lame. Hell, the Fantastic Four as characters were just lame. And the idea stuck. Here's how I view this. With time, any bad creative decision eventually becomes harmless. There's always going to be some new way these characters are rebooted. Any character. The current rendition of a character you love is just another stepping stone as decades go on. There was an old version of the character you like, and there will be a new version of the character you like. That's how it goes.
Yes.
As a society, we have moved on from this version of Fantastic Four, and we have learned there are far worse ways to adapt them.
Hey, clobber inside.
You can have a flawed script, a bad plot, but at the end of the day, because this movie preserves, for the most part, the essence of the Fantastic Four, I think it will only help it age more gracefully than other movies. It wasn't perfect, but it was just enough to get a sequel. And maybe, in that one, they can do the characters a little more justice. But that's a story for another time.
Okay.
Clobbering time.
Yay! He did the thing! Stop it. Stop it. Warbugs. All you have to know, all you have to really understand about late 90s, early 2000s movies was they were very campy compared to what came later. They were extremely campy. I mean, and that's not me dissing, like, you know, the Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, because that was campy as all, but they were excellent movies still nonetheless. They were just so campy when it came down to it. And this just didn't hit right for me in a lot of ways. Now, you couldn't tell my early 20s brain that Jessica Alba wasn't everything. Just saying. But at the same token, I didn't like it. I still don't like it. The Thing was the best part of the movie. Just saying. Just saying. But all the other stuff, Johnny, the way that Reed Richards just was in general, I didn't know enough about Doctor Doom, period, but this tarnished my impression of Doctor Doom. I didn't know that much about Doctor Doom at all, but this movie kind of tarnished my whole thing about him, because for me, Doctor Doom was the guy in the film, and I just sat there, was like, this guy is not very threatening, he's not very anything, he's just kind of a goofball, until he put on that mask, and then he started saying some really good, he started spitting some bars, Warpugs, I'm just saying. Now, I'll tell you this though, he wasn't kidding about Batman Begins. I remember watching the teaser trailer for Batman Begins, and like, I was like, so you had Batman, you had Batman Returns, you had Batman and Robin, and then you had Batman Forever. Batman and Batman Returns were both good. Michael Keaton, whole awesome. It was just awesome. Then you had Val Kilmer stepping into the role for some reason, and that one wasn't nearly as good. Then you turned around and had Batman Forever, which was just a shit show, and it didn't stop, and it wouldn't leave me alone. It just stuck there in my brain. And the last thing that anybody ever saw as far as a Batman movie went was that heap of garbage. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting in a theater, I can't remember where, but we start watching this trailer, and nobody knows what this trailer's about, because it looks awesome. It's got Liam Neeson in it, which is great, and it's got Christian Bale in it, which everybody thought was cool. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, it's a packed theater. Can't remember what we were watching, but you saw Batman. Like, you literally saw the whole thing. God, I wish I could find it and just play it. But oh my God, people were freaking out about that trailer. And then, even better was the Dark Knight trailer. Okay, I'm just saying. War Pugs, I'm gonna shut up. I'll catch you guys next time. All PointlessHub's links are gonna be in the description down below. Go check them out. Check me out when you get a chance. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. Join us a member of Patreon for early access. Later, War Pugs.